I've got this cheap welder from Harbor Freight. Um, I was using it the other day, do some welding on a trailer, and it worked perfect. Well, like I said, it's a cheap welder from Harbor Freight. It wasn't working perfect. It worked like it normally works. But I used it, put it in the garage. Next day, got it out, turned it on, light came on, wouldn't feed, and it wouldn't arc. So I was, kind of disappointed because right now I can't afford to buy me a good welder. Shoot, right now I can't afford to buy me another cheap welder. So I've been tearing into it and messing around with it. And I'm going to show you what I had just in case you have the same problem. So the arc, I found out inside, I believe these two wire, I guess feed that or somewhere, but the blue wire was actually came unplugged. It was just barely sitting against it. So once I plugged that back in, I crimped it down so it wouldn't come off again. I crimped that and, well, it started arcing. So that fixed that problem. But I couldn't get to feed. So I was testing, which is something you should try. Check all your connections. Make sure it's unplugged. You don't want to get electrocuted. But make sure all your connections are plugged. And then I unplugged these two and actually put 12 volts to that motor to make sure the motor was still good. That was a quick way to find out if it's the motor bad or if it's something else. But the motor worked it, so I knew the motor was good. So, but ended up finding out why it wouldn't feed. I took the handle apart. This was completely unplugged. So focus. The trigger button was completely unplugged. So I plugged it in, and once I got it plugged in, it started feeding. So now it welds, it arcs, it's, as you can hear, it's feeding. But so it works. So I just got through saving myself from minimum $100 for Harbor Freight. I don't know what they cost, but I wasn't gonna buy another Harbor Freight when this one goes out. I'm gonna save some money up and try to buy a decent one. But anyway, it's gonna just a little help. I couldn't find any videos on anyone that's had the same problem, but if you've had the problem of it not feeding, I know a lot of people on these welders are having a problem where the motor's going, it's just not enough pressure here, and some people are sanding this to make that where it goes tighter against that, and I've seen some people put C-clamps on this, squeezing it together. But that's not the problem I was saying. Well, I'm having that problem, obviously, because it's a Harbor Freight. But that's not what my main problem. My main problem was my motor would not feed my wire. That motor was not getting power. So if you're having a problem of your motor not coming on or feeding, check your plug. Make sure just before you go out and buy a new one, it may be a simple fix like I said, like a little plug. Or what I did, since it was already unplugged, I just touched these two wires together and it came on. So I just replugged it back in, then I pushed the switch and it worked fine. But if you're pushing the switch and it is plugged and it ain't working, try jumping these two wires because that switch could be bad or not good contact. So anyway, I hope this helps you if you're having the same problem I was, because I couldn't find anything on it. And I'm not really good with electrical stuff, so I always try to find something first. So hope this helps.